Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sukhi Bhava children. This is the first module in English for Knowledge Charity, and it is going to be a poem written by William Wordsworth, the famous poet who belonged to the Romantic period. He is a very well-known, very famous poet, and the poem is The Solitary Reaper. The Solitary Reaper is a perfect example of William Wordsworth's simplicity and elegance. With such simple words, he could produce a lot of energy for new poetry lovers, the ones who want to try to write poems. It is such a motivation for all of them. Romantic, he belonged to the Romantic period. Romantic period should not be misconstrued as something else. Romantic period means about nature. It is about nature. So he wrote a lot of poems about nature. This is a very famous one, and it goes like this. Behold her, single in the field, yon solitary highland lass, reaping and singing by herself. Stop here or gently pass. Alone she cuts and binds the grain and sings a melancholy strain. Oh, listen, for the vale profound is overflowing with the sound. No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands of travellers in some shady haunt among Arabian sands. A voice so thrilling never was heard in springtime from the cuckoo bird, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides. Will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plaintive numbers flow for old, unhappy, far-off things and battles long ago. Or is it some more humble lay, familiar matter of today, some natural sorrow, loss or pain that has been and may be again? Whatever the theme the maiden sang, as if her song could have no ending, I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bending. I listened motionless and still, and as I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore, long after it was heard no more. This is a perfect example of what he said earlier about poems. That is, a recollection of powerful emotions in tranquility. So, behold her single in the field. The meaning of behold here means watch, see, look at her, single in the field. Yon solitary highland lass. Yon, yonder, it's an archaic word for the other side. So yon solitary highland lass. Lass means a girl. Reaping and singing by herself. Stop here or gently pass. He asks the onlooker or the person who passes by that area to stop and look and hear her singing. She was reaping and singing by herself. Stop here or gently pass. Why is he asking them to stop here or gently pass? Because he wants people to hear it very, very attentively and then look at her as well. He's talking about the sound that it is producing. Okay. Now, alone she cuts and binds the grain and sings a melancholy strain. She's doing it all alone. Can that happen in India? Of course not. This happens in a Scotland Highland, so where their population is also very less. So she's all alone doing that work. So alone she cuts and binds the grain. She binds it, she cuts, she reaps it with a sickle, and then she binds them and sings a melancholy strain. Now a melancholy strain, until now he asked us to see and hear her. Now he's talking about, going into an analysis about what the song is going to be about. Melancholy strain. Melancholy strain means something which is very sad. Oh, listen, the vale profound is overflowing with the sound. So he's asking the onlooker to just listen, the passerby, to just listen. The Vale Profound. Vale Profound is the valley. He mentions about the valley here, the Scotland Highlands, which would have some valleys there, and that would overflow with that sound, which with her voice, with her singing, is overflowing with the sound. No nightingale did ever chant. Now he's starting comparison about her voice. Now he says, nightingale. Nightingale is a bird which is famous for singing, which is famous for its voice. So sweet a voice it has that he compares her solitary reaper's song to that of the nightingale. No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands. Welcome notes here means something which people would like to hear when they are tired. See, weary bands of travelers. The travelers, supposing they are traveling in a desert, like for example Arabian sands. So when you're in the Arabian sand, if you get into a shady haunt, how nice it would be. Likewise, if they heard her song, it would give them all the solace from the heat and dust. A voice so thrilling never was heard. Now he says her voice is uncomparable. It was not comparable to anything which anybody could hear on earth. He was so attracted by her voice that he said, a voice so thrilling never was heard in springtime from the cuckoo bird. Now again, there is another bird. There is a comparison of another bird, cuckoo bird. Now here he refers to the season. Spring is followed after winter. Winter is such a tough period in those places which have extreme climates like snowing, etc. So people would be awaiting the arrival of the springtime. Now her voice was so thrilling that it was compared to that of the cuckoo bird, which is a harbinger, which is a messenger for the arrival of the spring season. Now the cuckoo bird, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides. Now in springtime, the cuckoo bird would come and announce the arrival of the springtime, and then he also compares it to the voice which is echoed and which breaks the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides. Hebrides is the inside part of the Scottish shore, where you get inside. Silent seas are always deep and silent. So there, her voice would break the silence. Will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plaintive numbers flow. Now, he started analysis of the content in her song, right? So, now she says, will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps he's starting to speculate, to find out what is happening in this. What is she singing about? He's trying to find out what the actual part of the heart of the song was. Will no one tell me what she sings? He's asking the help of the reader. Will anybody tell me, or the onlooker, or the passerby? He's getting their help. Perhaps the plaintive numbers flow. Plaintive numbers is something which is about something sad about the happenings, about some happening which has happened in the long time back. Old, unhappy, far off things and battles long ago. Now he's one after the other, he's guessing. Maybe it is about something which has happened long time back. Okay? And the battles long ago means maybe about some of the quarrels or some of the battles which were fought. It may not literally mean battles. It can be something which was unpleasant, which had happened long time back. Or is it some more humble lay? Or is it, am I exaggerating? He's trying to speculate. Am I exaggerating? Maybe it's not so. It's something which is very simpler, not as complicated as battles or any other thing. Maybe it's similar. Familiar matter of today, maybe of the past. Now he's talking about the present. Maybe something which is happening now. Something which is happening in the present. Same natural sorrow, loss or pain. So some natural sorrow. It may be because of a loss of a person who is very, very near and dear to that person. So to the solitary reaper. It may be because of that, the loss that has been and maybe again. Maybe she's expecting something like that in future. So he's talked about the past, the present and the future. He makes an analysis. Okay. Then whatever the theme. Now he's come. Then in the next stanza he switches over to, okay, let it be whatever it is. Whatever theme she sings, let it be. The maiden sang. Maiden is the solitary reaper. As if her song could have no ending. So it went on and on. Now what does it mean when he says there is no ending? Definitely the song has to end somewhere. But to the poet, it lingered in his mind. It took him so long to forget that he started thinking that it had never an ending. I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bending. I listened motionless and still. Now he asked the onlooker to pass by, whereas he stood there and watched what she did. What did she do? I saw her singing at her work. She was singing as she was reaping the corn. And over the sickle bending. He also gives you that visual impression. He gives you that imagery of a person who reaps the produce. So now he says, you can imagine, see, if there are a lot of instances in this poem where you can close your eyes and imagine how nature, that natural surrounding, the cool breeze, the nice weather, you can actually travel from this hot, sunny, very, very sultry Chennai to the Scottish Highland, where you can think, you can just close your eyes and be in a place where it is very cold and nice and chill breeze flowing onto your, beating onto your face. I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bending. I listened motionless and still. He stood there and he paid keen attention to what she was singing. And as I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore. Bore is what? Bear. The past tense of bear. So, the music in my heart I bore long after it was heard no more. That is what it is. It is lingering in his mind. This he had recollected in tranquility. When he had finished seeing all the whole scene and he came back to his house, he was recollecting all that had happened when he had taken a stroll outside in that nice weather. This poem is such a good example of nature, the imageries, the analysis that the poet makes, but yet he has used such simple language, even a beginner in English could understand it. That is the worth of William Wordsworth. Okay. Now could I test you on something which I had taught you just now? Could you give me the meaning of behold and yawn? Could you give the opposite of lass? And then, what does it mean by melancholy strain? Then I would like to know, what are the two birds to which the reaper's song was compared? And who are the people whom he compared would get a solace out of her song? And what were the geographical features that we had mentioned in the poem? For example, like a desert, I mentioned about a desert and about some seas there, about a sea. And the analysis was based on what? The analysis was based on the singing, the theme of the song was based on what? What was the analysis made by the poet? Provide your answers in the column which is given beneath, and press the like button if you had liked it, and subscribe to the Knowledge Portal site, please. I would recommend you strongly to subscribe to the Knowledge Portal, Knowledge Charity Portal.